focus on the main villain, who is the main character. The same goes for 2010's Avatar movie, titled Last Airbender for 2010, and Emma Chamberlain fucked up. And the same goes for the Bruce Banner Hulk, the Green Bruce Banner part of Bruce Banner, and Bruce Banner's father. The only thing that from 2003 that feels actually has some humanity and humor is the CGI Hulk from 2003 in that movie. That is the only thing I feel like they got right. Maybe I'm just saying that because they got it more right than in 2011 Hulk film, because he felt more alive in that film. Even though that is a worse film. I'm not sure which is worse, okay? Actually, no, 2003 is a worse film. Well, 2011 film is an improvement. It's not good at all. Hulk, his green doesn't look right. You get him, and I feel like the climax is more creative, and I will admit it's more lead. However, I don't appreciate how Abomination looks more green than the Hulk that is acknowledged green, who is the Incredible Hulk, who is Bruce Banner. So, in the fight scenes, because when they is sad, you understand why this show is confused, because he doesn't know which Hulk to help, and when General says the green one, help the green one, damn it. You're thinking to yourself, which green one? They're both green. They're both kind of shit, kind of brown green. Hulk looks like the green kind of poop, and Abomination looks like the green kind of poop. And that color's just disgusting and ugly. No one wants to look at that. It reminds people of poop. Who thinks that was a good idea to make the Hulk that color? Well, I can kind of understand why he did Abomination, because true Abomination is supposed to be that color in the comics. However, Hulk is supposed to be green. Like this shirt. Well, and that's why I think 2011 Hulk design is worse than 2003's Hulk design, because he looks green, and he looks like he looks more unique and stands out more, because you can tell what color he's supposed to be. It's green. And that's why I think the worst Hulk design ever in history is 2011's Hulk film, and I think that's why I can't stand it, because you fucked up the green. That's the one reason why I can't stand it. Not because the story is not either default enough, or because the first 15 minutes is kind of boring when you just have it's just showing clips and general searching for Hulk, even though that could be edited out because it felt like it's so no purpose for the story, or it's not like Edwin, and I like Edwin Norton. Norton did do a bad job, because he didn't, but it's because he kind of screwed up the Hulk design. He made him more brown than green. And does brown really think about it? If you're a Hulk fan, and or you at least you know what the Hulk's supposed to look like against the comics, which is green. When you think of the title Incredible Hulk or Hulk, does brown really come to your subconscious, or your brain if you have one, or your dumbass brain, or your full-on retard brain if you have one? It doesn't matter what kind of brain. You always assume it is going to be green. That is the number one scene that pops in country if you at least know, I guess, a general idea of what the most famous Hulk is supposed to look like, which is Bruce Banner, and always has been the most famous Hulk in the comics. Which is why I see why they gave it a reboot design. And let me tell you something. I think they would do the same thing with Jared Leto's Joker. Give him a reboot design. I mean, I think they should do the same thing with Jared Leto's Joker. But it's a pretty number problem I have with Jared Leto's Joker. It's not the laugh, although I do have a problem with the laugh. Or his... But trouble is, his acting's not bad on an acting scale. But he doesn't act like the Joker at all. Not really. So like Heath Ledger's. Although Heath Ledger's... I think one thing what made Heath Ledger's more watchable look visually is that he at least had the key elements of the Joker's design. Jared Leto's design visually is the worst Joker design ever in history. Even the comics didn't have that bad, never did that stupid design and strip that much away elements from the key Joker iconic design. Sure, they took it in a different direction, but it never made it look to a point where it looks unrecognizable or barely recognizable. The only thing that's recognizable is the skin, the color of the skin, and the green hair. The rest is so... What is that? Please don't tell me that. I just want to cry. Because you fucked up his design. And, then goes to the Hulk. And the point, it doesn't look like a fully polished design. And, I can't say the same for the thing about Hal Jordan's Green Lantern, but I can say Hal Jordan's Green Lantern and Ryan Reynolds' movie doesn't look like a fully polished design. The design is cool, but I think I understand why people don't like the CGI suit. It's not because it's a bad design, but because it looks too flat and rubbery. Because there's nothing that it doesn't have any layers it doesn't have any textures. There's nothing about it that pops, that catches your eyes, or wow, that looks three-dimensional. And here's this thing. Originally, that's what they were going for. But then, let's go with a more rubbery look. Because, please, that looks more right. And somehow, you made it worse and more silly looking than the actual original comic design from the Silver Age. Because that at least looks like it was made out of materials. Some sort of alien fiber materials, but... Maybe it looks a little silly looking, but at least look like it was made out of something. The movie, 2011, and the theatrical cut and the extended cut just looks wrong. When it captures your eyes, you think to yourself, but you think 2011's Hulk design. No. It's what you think to yourself when you saw Jared Leto's design Joker. You say to yourself, no. That's not right. You have crossed a line, creators of the film. and because it doesn't look design just doesn't look this right. The design looks unfinished for these characters that I just listed off. These three characters I just listed off. And I feel like... Okay, I'm just going to say it. Even the Green Lantern plan doesn't look like a finished design. And when you have a TV show that's the 2011 universe of Green Lantern, and that makes a cameo in Arrowverse of Crisis on Infinite Earths, and somehow the planet looks more convincing and more alive and popular than it did ever in 2011's Green Alien movie, and you fact that's probably not as much money as the Green Lantern movie. It's probably a lot shorter budget. The fact is they actually add texture in the Green Lantern Corps planet. The planet where the Green Lantern Corps takes place, and all of the textures on the Green Lantern suits in that small, quick, brief shot. They feel like they added layers of texture and designs to make it look like it could pop, like it could actually exist. And the Everest, 2011's 11th Green Lantern film that Ryan Reynolds was in. That's the same Green Lantern that's in the Arrowverse that makes a cameo. That universe makes a cameo, and somehow looks more right and looks okay. It looks watchable. It looks right. It looks like you finished it. It looks like you finished adding all the small details and making it look like the thing doesn't look like flat rubber. It looks like a planet. Every CGI scene in the Green Lantern, even you're not an expert at the CGI, or unless you've never seen, you would know that this doesn't look right for some reason. But you don't know what it is until I point it out to you. Every CGI scene looks, except when the Green Lantern makes this car road and to save this car, and the shell that he puts up in the third and repeats those. Those are the only two things that look finished for CGI. Now, even if the CGI scenes weren't finished, I wouldn't say this would. Even the CGI scenes didn't look rubbery and flat, like flat rubber. It wouldn't look. At least it wouldn't look ugly looking, like 2010's Last Airbender. I can't believe I said that. I hate comparing movies to that, because that is so much worse than Green Lantern, in my opinion. I don't know what there's not a single thing I have to say, not even the end credits, because the end credits are so haunting looking. I will say at least the green, and even the soundtrack's haunting looking. It feels like it gives you goosebumps. Like, oh my god, what am I listening to? Please make it stop. The same goes for the Green Lantern soundtrack. Oh yes, I remember the soundtrack. It just has this really mystical, scary, unheroic, no heroic elements and the tone of the soundtrack. And I didn't even bother. I have listened to the whole soundtrack of Last Airbender 2010 to see if there's a decent track, one decent track on it. Same goes for 2011, the Green Lantern film. There is not a decent track on either soundtracks. Unlike 2010's Hulk film and 2011's Hulk film. Okay, the movies talk about both movies suck though. But the soundtrack is listenable and it's engaging. It is fun. You couldn't make it. Last Airbender movie, Green Lantern movie from 2011. And when I say Last Airbender movie, I mean 2010 Last Airbender movie, because I don't know if they want to make another one, but I hope they do. It's like I hope they make another Hal Jordan movie. In live action form, but however, you got a good performance from Ryan Reynolds, but from the main character, the main hero of the film, in the Green Lantern. Can't you say the same can't be said for the Last Airbender movie from 2010? Okay. However, there might be hope. I believe that Green Lantern, Hal Jordan's Green Lantern, is going to return. Played by Ryan Reynolds. Once you hint, because here's the thing. Let's just think about this for a second. Green Lantern, that universe, made a cameo in the Arrowverse. Why wouldn't they try giving that universe another shot, but have it with a solid story and an interesting story and a fun story, a humorous story from beginning to end, like the comics? Like, I believe that universe is going to be explored in the future in TV form, or played by Ryan Reynolds plays Green Lantern, and it tells the natural side of story, and maybe he Or, I don't know, maybe, hang on, I'm gonna take a breather. I believe that's going to get a split in TV form. Where Ryan Reynolds, first of all, if you're going to split in TV form, here's what you gotta do right. Focus on Ryan Reynolds and make him the main protagonist and give him force to overcome throughout the entire series and have it consistent with his tone and not make this each episode overly crowded unless you want to do that for the last 15 minutes of the finale of the episode, final episode of each final season. Or maybe you want to have it look, now if you want to have a crowd from beginning to end, do that every once in a while for episode, but have it build up the crowd, the batch of crowdness, build it up, and make it look like fun and humorous and spirit of hope and like a hero. Have it capture that iconic hero tone that we know Hal Jordan. Because here's the thing, Hal Jordan, even though he was an idiot in the movie, and in the comics, kind of an idiot, he was as much of a hero as Superman. And as any other hero, he is much of a hero as Superman. Because he is that good of a person. Focus on that element. Have that be the main focus. And have that be the main thing what drives the series. Or if you want to go straight to the movies, straight to movie form, and don't want to... Because I think if they do a series, I always say on HBO Max where they're doing Snyder Cut and have it really market a ton. Have and show what Green Lantern's costume will look like. And actually got layers into it, but don't change the design because it might kind of confuse people and make kind of confuse people how he got that new costume that looks too much better than the movie. But unless you want to, I mean, I guess you could say he did an upgrade. He got an upgrade or a promotion, which made him in the Green Lantern Corps, which made grant him a much better costume. That looks more cooler, like tremendously cooler. Yeah, gotta kind of do the same thing for the rest of the Green Lantern Corps, but that would take too much too much time to explaining in a TV show or in a movie. So you probably not want to do that. I would say just give it some tweaks on making that no longer look like flat rubber or rubber. Make it look like it could actually exist and you could touch it or want to wear it as a Halloween costume. Or cosplay as it. Because, the Halloween Green Lantern costume actually looks better than a lot and actually looks cool. The ones that the kids wear. And that the adult sites can wear. You can get in adult sites too. The Halloween costume to the Green Lantern from 2011 Green Lantern movie. The costume that's a Halloween costume looks actually like fun and cool and doesn't look like ugly at all. It's more brighter like the comics and looks like it has texture and details and looks more expensive and well made than the one from 2011's movie. That doesn't really happen that much these days, but I'm glad they fixed. If that somehow looks more presentable, would look more presentable on the big screen for 2011 than what we got in the actual film. That's just sad and odd, weird. So yeah, this Green Lantern movie gets the extended cut and theatrical cut gets 0 out of 10, both. And if you wanted to make a movie with Ryan Reynolds, which I think Ryan Reynolds is definitely going to return as Hal Jordan one of these days, have it take place events after the cliffhanger, or maybe want to skip 10 years after the cliffhanger and have Sinestro already in prison, just show him in prison and make him a cameo. If you want to focus on tell a more interesting story than the Sinestro versus Hal Jordan story. It's a pretty cool story. And a pretty good comic run, and can work actually really well. And here's the thing, I'm surprised that this didn't made. I'm surprised that this didn't. I feel like, let's say, I feel like this would have been. I feel like this could have been a good film if you just made Sinestro the main villain and have him the main focus, and just have the Green Lantern Corps being the heads of the Green Lantern Corps just being complete dicks to him and shitting on him, and he just turns and gets the yellow power ring, gets the yellow, a hold of the yellow ring and dishes the green ring, and just goes full on evil. And Hal Jordan, then you show Hal Jordan, let's say you show Hal Jordan for the 3 acts, being a hero and as already an active Green Lantern, he skipped the origin story completely. I think it could have worked as a solid film. And if you want to just do you can actually dissect this. Green Lantern is one of those films. Could have been one of them when you just saw a flashback of how he got the ring, and that's his origin story. And you get that chance somewhere along you get that that's one of the stories that could have worked easily in a flashback scene. Because Hal Jordan doesn't have as complex story for origin story as like Batman or Spider-Man or even Superman. It's kind of a simple origin story like Aquaman. It's kind of silly, kind of stupid, and it probably wouldn't get that much financial success or critical success or even get that popular, but they somehow did was Aquaman, even though it kept a similar tone, and I think what Aquaman's is dumbest choice is Green Lantern. When you really get down to it, it's cluttered, it's kind of confusing when you really look at it, and the love story feels kind of rushed more than Green Lantern from 2011, Ryan Reynolds' take. But I think one reason why it worked, because, okay, the CGI looks like it's polished. It looks like the CGI can exist, and it looks like alive. It looks like it lives, it breathes. However, it doesn't only get a 100% great performance from the guy that plays Aquaman. It actually focuses on him. No matter how convoluted or silly the story might be. It is really silly and convoluted story when you really analyze it. Even more than 2011's Green Lantern. However, instead of taking it seriously, it decides to have fun with the story and just have a wacky sense of humor from beginning to end. So, it actually has not just one villain, but 2 main villains, like Green Lantern. However, the climax, even though both kind of end the same way, for taking up for a sequel and have this being the main villain, however, it gives you enough it fleshes both villains out enough that you kind of get who they are and get where they come from, and get their identity, and gives you enough to love them, but also don't want to root for them at the same time, but want to root for them. You're so confused, but you're not, because you understand that they are villains and they have to be stopped. But you understand who they are as people. So the same goes, but however, also you understand who he is as a person, and that he is highlighting, and it's also understand who he is as a hero, that by showing him do a bunch of heroic things at the beginning of him, then shows you this origin story, and shows you where Alpha is now, and kind of hints on that he doesn't know why I think they want to explore, the only thing kind of a promise to Aquaman is that they didn't really explore him, how he talks to fish, and he does, you know, how. And when he gets the suit, the comic actor suit, it isn't just give him a cool major makeover. It actually enhances his powers and makes him stronger than ever. And that's his super strength. Him talking to sea creatures. And I think that's and those, and he can kind of give, and I don't want to, and he also can give people seizures and murder them if he feels like it. Depends on how dangerous. Yeah, he usually doesn't kill people to the point of giving them a seizure to death, but he can do that with like he would telepathically by communicating with the brain and actually just fucking the brain up and giving a wild spin to the point of giving the person seizures. He can do that to humans and supervillains. It's like, and that's pretty scary. He can murder people by giving them seizures, controlling their brain, by taking control of their brain. And he has done that in the comics. That's how I know this. He hasn't done that in any adaptation yet. So I think that the sequel might explore the love interest more, Aquaman's love interest more, and their relationship more, and make them more